Welcome, everyone, to the best sports betting show on the planet, where the goal is very bigger today than they were yesterday. I'm Andy. Welcome, everyone. We have an absolutely loaded show. We have Gianni coming on first, and it's the end of the NBA season, which can only mean one thing, which is Teddy Covers is dropping dimes and dropping profits on all of us. Can't wait to talk to him about some NBA games. We got Joe D'Amico, a featured handicapper at Sportsmemo. We'll go over an MLB play. Kyle Anthony is going to be with us, talk about some UFC for UFC 314 coming up this weekend, and we're going to close it out with Dave Mason from Bet Online. We got a favor to ask you guys before we get into this. We're almost 600 subscribers away from 200,000. So if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do that. We're so close. We're so close. I'd love to get there before the weekend gets here. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that now. Hit the like button and leave us a comment. Shout out to everyone in the chat. I see everyone's been waiting. So no time to waste. Let's get into it. Let's bring on Gianni. See if we can get a little bit smarter here and find out what the syndicates are doing. Gianni, what is up, my man? How's life?
Never better. But actually, I woke up today to 3 shutdown accounts, man. Nothing worse than that. Nothing worse than that. It was because I put in that. I should have never done it. I knew it. There was new accounts. I should have never hit them with AAA baseball and college baseball. I needed to slowly bring them in with more major league, with UFC, MLB, NBA. But the AAA and college baseball has been so good. I just got greedy. And yeah, the agent that set up the 3 different accounts is like, bro, they just all shut off. So sorry.
Well, let's talk about that, because listen, keeping your sports books open is part of our job. Like if you don't have the accounts, you can't get the bets down. So what are some of the rules that we have to follow in order to keep these accounts open? You mentioned some of these fringe sports, huh?
For number one, don't use a bot. I hand bet everything now, where 5 years ago, I didn't even have to hand bet anything. You could attach a bot to it, and the worst that happens is they put the spinner on you, so you can't use the bot anymore. But that was it. They didn't even really back you off. They wanted the action. Now, it's because there's so much losing action out there. They don't even want to deal with anybody that's a threat. Where before, again, you help limit some of their risk, because more times than not, we're coming in on the other side of a lot of those heavy biased public plays. So, we were actually helping the books. But now with sports betting being, so huge, everybody doing it, it's legal in pretty much every state. They don't need to work anymore. So they just immediately, they see, it's kind of like the casinos with advantage blackjack. I've said it before. I'll say it again. 99 out of every 100 advantage blackjack players lose money, because they may know how to do it, but just like sports betting, they can't fight those demons. They overbet, they chase, they're underfunded, they play bad games. You know what I mean? Even if the rules aren't in their favor, they just want the action. So even though they have the skill set to beat the game, they put themselves in a position where they are actually negative EV. But as soon as the casino sees that you raised your bet from $10 to $100, and every time, you did that, it was a positive count, they're just going to toss you out. When, more times than not, they'll find out if they let you play long enough, you're going to end up losing money. In fact, not to go long, but back in the day, when they changed the rules here in Vegas, they got pissed when card counting became 60 Minutes did a big thing on card counting. Everybody wanted to become a card counter, and Vegas got scared, and they changed a lot of rules. They went to 6-5 blackjack. They went to only dealing half the shoe, and they realized it was actually costing them money. A pit boss at the Aladdin said, you know what? I'm going to welcome the card counters. He said, I'm going to keep the rules the same, and I'm going to invite you to my casino. Come on in and play here. And there were some guys that went in there and exploited it and made money, but the money they made was greater than comparison those months that he did it to past years, because everybody thought they were competent. Everybody thought they could win because now they have that skill set. But again, under that environment, under that pressure, playing for real money changes the game a lot. And they realized, this was foolish of us, and they went back to normal rules, all the rest of the casinos. But there was a few months there where, I mean, the whole strip had changed what they were doing with blackjack because they were afraid every card counter was going to go in there and bury them. That just wasn't the case. Kind of like sports betting, where they see you're beating the closing line or you're betting these obscure sports, these markets, they don't even want to deal with you. I'm surprised, you bet a lot of props and you do damage into those small markets. I'm sure you run into the same exact problems. I mean, they could limit you, but even then, you know what I mean? Eventually, they're just going to drop you after limiting you. So I'm sure you're in the same boat I'm in. We're constantly looking for good outs because, again, I like credit shops because I don't like tying up my cash in non-interest bearing accounts. I'm just old school like that. But at the same time, like, it's hard to find accounts like that anymore where they're going to keep them open once they see. I swear to you, again, not to go long, there was a book that someone gave me 3 months ago that I put in the first 3 bets I put in. The dude called me and he said that the account's shut down. Like, the games hadn't started. We ended up going 1-2. We actually lost that night, going 1-2, but he just shut it down because he's like, wait, they saw that the line moved 10 minutes after we bet it in our favor. So he's like, I don't even want to deal with it. It's sharp action. I don't want it. So that's the problem you'll run into. Again, if you're a great poker player, you'll be on Card Player Magazine, you'll be on ESPN, you'll become rich and famous. But if you're an advantage blackjack player, you're an advantage sports bettor, you're not going on any cover of any magazine. They're not, welcoming you in with the red carpet because you're taking their money. With poker, you're taking other players' money. They don't care. They get a piece of the pot. They don't care who leaves with the money. They get a vig, more or less. But with sports betting, with blackjack, it's you versus them, and they don't want to deal with you. And like I said, there's more than enough negative EV action out there now. Everybody putting in same game parlays, everybody chasing the 100,000 off of $10 that they don't even want to deal with it, man. So forgive me for going long, but you could tell the frustration that I'm dealing with right now because baseball season's prime. Like, this is the best money making few months. And I just wish it was different, man. Thank God there's the Dave Masons out there that'll give you the same limit they give everybody else.
Yeah, I learned my lesson with props. I don't beat the numbers. I stopped putting in the early plays because I watched what happened to my accounts. You're going, oh my God, they got this rebound number wrong on Austin Reeves. Let's put it in at -130. Well, it's going to move. So why put yourself in that position where the book is going to go, oh my God,
you're willing to take less of an edge, but to bet later to conceal your action, right? Dude, I had a guy on the Gambler's Perspective, the pod show that I do for the UFC, and he's actually he allowed us to say he's the biggest, most profitable sports bettor at Circa since they opened. He's Brandon Whitmire, good friend of mine. I knew him in Vegas forever. Like, he didn't have any social media to promote, nothing to promote, but he just came in and did a segment for us. And he said he's at the point now that that's exactly what he does, where he for MMA, he'll bet 10 minutes before the fights, 15 minutes before the fight, because he's able to get a lot more money down, and the books are okay with it because they've already booked a bunch of action. They're not as afraid of it as early, getting out ahead of the number, putting them in a bad position. So, yeah, I think that's what you just have to do sometimes. Take a smaller edge and maybe bet bigger. That's what he does. He says smaller edges, I bet more money, as opposed to before I was getting bigger edges and able to bet less money. So I guess that's how the game's turning out if you're able to get out ahead of the market like you're doing with the props.
Yeah, I like I said, I've got limited in so many accounts, and once I stopped kind of beating the lines, or I don't put out prop plays for clients until the day of. I used to put them out the day before, but there's no point. You'll get yourself limited so quick.
That's how they grade you. Again, this is so educational. Most recreational bettors, when they hear someone get kicked out, they think, oh, you must have crushed them. It's because of how much money you won. And nothing could be further from the truth. The video that Gianni put out of me, him, and Kelly getting thrown out of Mandalay Bay, I could tell you right now, I'm not proud of it. But at that property, I'm down over $40,000 lifetime playing blackjack. For whatever reason, we lost at that property. But they don't care about what I've won or lost. They care about the threat you pose. And with CLV, that's what they look at. You see recreational bettors on social media all the time, like, oh, big deal. You got CLV. What does that matter? What does that matter? You lost the bet. You lost the bet. What they don't realize is your ability to get closing line value is how they determine whether you're going to be a winning bettor or not. Just like with card counting, if they rewind the tape and they see every time you had the edge, you bet bigger, they don't care about the results because they know if they deal you enough hands, you know what you're doing. You're going to beat them. And the same thing with closing line value. If you're able to repeat that over and over again, your mathematical certainty to turn profit. They know that. You could be down 50 dimes with them for the month, and they don't care. If you're getting CLV, they know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of time if you're a plus EV guy. So thank you. That's a great point you brought up because that's why they throw you out. It's not about the money you won. It's about the threat that you pose to the casino.
Yeah, if you're betting $500 and winning, they don't care. If you're betting $20 and you're smoking their opening line, you're out of there. So,
great point.
Let's get into some actual info. You mentioned
some actionable information.
Let's give the people what they want. Baseball, you mentioned. How's your baseball season starting off? What trends are you noticing? What are we playing?
Yeah, early the first week and a half too, it was dogs. It was taking advantage of the dogs. Of late, what we've been doing is taking advantage of those teams that you expect a regression or progression towards the mean. And what I mean by that is, in Major League Baseball, when the season's over, there's going to be one team that won 60% of their games. That's going to be the LA Dodgers. No other division winner is going to win 60% of their games. They're all going to be between 57, 59%. That's what wins the divisions. You could go back and look year after year after year after year. That's what's going to do it. Of late, we're looking again, and the regression and progression doesn't have to come now. The season's long. You're playing 162 games, but baseball gives you that opportunity to get to the long term. So what I've been noticing is that those teams that are actually expected to be good, that have started off awful, they're starting to back those teams and starting to fade those teams that have come out on fire but aren't expected to be able to sustain that. And again, if a team's, 11-1 right now, you're not sustaining that. You're not winning 90% of your games in Major League Baseball. So anybody could see and do that, but it's hard to do because it's hard to fade those really good teams that are winning. And it's hard to bet those at least notably bad teams that are losing. But that's exactly what you have to do. Kind of like, buying stock. You say you want to, when everyone's running out of the burning building, you want to run in. And that's very hard to do because you're thinking like, am I trying to catch a falling knife? Is it still just going to keep dropping? But that's how you make your money. That's exactly how you make your money. Not being afraid to bet those teams that are going to progress towards their mean and not being afraid to fade those good teams that are expected to regress towards their mean. That's what we've been mostly doing. And then taking advantage of some key numbers on overnights as far as the totals go, getting on the right side of 7, 9, and 11. That's what's most important from what I've seen as far as betting Major League Baseball this early in the season.
Nice. What are you liking in UFC this weekend?
Good card. I'm kind of on an island because I know everybody likes the Michael Chandler side over Paddy Pimblett, how he's overrated, and they've given him opponents he can beat. I'll tell you this, Paddy's made me money already, and I'm going to bet him again on Saturday night. Listen, Chandler could knock him out, obviously, but historically, all I could do is zoom out, and what I see is the best of Chandler has already passed him at Bellator, meaning he's fought. They throw him in the deep end with top guys, which is impressive. But the truth is, since 2021, he's got one win. It's against Tony Ferguson. And everybody talks about Dan Hooker. Oh, he beat Dan Hooker and how good Dan Hooker is. Dude, let's real quickly, let's look at that Dan Hooker and again, no disrespect. I'm a huge Dan Hooker fan. But I have to bring this up because when he beat Hooker, all right, when Chandler knocked out Hooker, okay, he was coming off a loss to Poirier, okay, which was a big fight for him. So he caught him at the right time. After that, he beat Haqparast. He lost to Makhachev. He lost to Allen. Those are respectable. But the 3-fight win streak is against Claudio Puelles, Jalen Turner, who's no longer in the UFC, and Gamrot, which was a split decision, a very close fight. They could have went either way. I actually think Gamrot won with the 5 takedowns that he had. So they're giving him so much credit for that Hooker win, but that Hooker win happened back in 2021. Since then, his only wins against Tony Ferguson. He's catching them where Chandler's 9 years older, almost 40 years old. And I think Pimblett will not be in any disadvantage in the stand-up because he's going to have a nice distance. He works his distance really well. And in the grappling, if Pimblett takes his back, he finishes the fight. And I get it. Chandler's got good wrestling, but his takedown defense has been, questionable at the UFC level. And I think Pimblett's totally a good bet. I also like against Krylov over Reyes. Krylov hasn't fought in 2 years. Otherwise, he'd be a 3-1 favorite over Reyes. Before Krylov taking those 2 years off, he was on a 3-fight win streak where he subbed Spann. He beat Ozdemir, who's a really tough out. He knocked out Gustafsson, who we know how good Gustafsson was, back in 2021, 2022. So I really think Krylov is being disrespected here at anything less than 200. And I think this fight sets up for fireworks. That's why you're looking at 1.5. You could get plus money on Krylov inside the distance right now. And I think he gets it done. And in the first fight, I like the dog. I like Haley Cowan. I think they're looking at Nora as far as more recency bias, where you're seeing Cowan coming off her loss against Jamie Lynn Horth. I think this line's a little bit too high. The guy I respect a lot's on that favorite, but I think that's a live dog there. And in the main event, everybody thinks Diego Lopez is going to get the job done. He's the heir at featherweight. I think too much too soon. Scary betting Volkanovski off back-to-back finishes, but I do not think Lopez beats either of those guys. He's definitely not being Makhachev, and he's definitely not being Ilia Topuria. So those are as respectable of losses as you're going to get. And let's not forget, Volkanovski closed as the betting favorite against Ilia Topuria, arguably the number 1 or number 2 fighter on the planet. I don't care what the result was. I care what the market thought. And we thought that Volk should have been a favorite against Topuria, and now he's a smaller favorite against Lopez. Line value all day on Volk.
Love it, Gianni the Greek. Nobody does it better. Gianni, tell everyone what you have up at WagerTalk going for today.
I got my 5% package up with UFC. 2 4%, 2 3% already in there. I'm going to have volume on Saturday. I love these pay-per-view cards. They're kind of our Super Bowl, where you get such an influx of recreational bettors. You get some of the most value on those pay-per-view cards. That package is up. The baseball package will be up today. I have it at 4% isolated. Right now, currently number 2 in all of baseball overall. And coming off a bounce back, had a losing year, only my first losing year since 2020 in Major League Baseball. So I was expected to have a really good bounce back year. It's exactly what's happening. So, just grinding and waiting for the big weekend ahead, brother. And the NBA playoffs, where we have the Cleveland Cavaliers at 10-1 to win it all. They probably won't cut down the nets. Oklahoma City's tough, and obviously they got to get past Boston. But give me home court advantage with a team that's only lost 6 games at home, and I'll roll the dice.
Love it. Love it. Gianni, great job. 10-1 on the Cleveland Cavaliers, locking up that number 1 seed is awesome value. Good job by you. So thank you, Gianni. Appreciate it. Everyone in the chat, if you have not hit the like button, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and do that. We're inching ever so close to that 200,000 subscribers mark, something that the company's very, very proud of. And somebody that has helped a bunch get all those subscribers up is Teddy Covers. And it's end of NBA season, can only mean Teddy's keeps cashing in NBA. I sent you a message, Teddy. I really truly believe you could fix the national debt with your end of the NBA season bets. You just have a knack for when it gets done to the regular season. There you are cashing. Your streak. What are you, 18-5 or something like crazy?
18-6. I lost last night. And I'm mad at myself for losing last night because I should have won. I did a bad job with I threw out 2 winners to keep the 1 loser, and it was stupid. Whatever. If you watch the game, they still were going to cover at the end, and then dude from Utah hits back-to-back threes, and now they're not going to cover anymore. So it happens, unfortunately. But it has been a real good closeout. 18-6 with the last 24 in the NBA, but. I'm up more than 200 units of profit in the NBA since 2022. I've hit 57% long-term. You go 57% long-term? Yeah. When you do it for, in a volume sport for multiple years, that's how you make 200 units of profit. So I like the association. We'll see what we can do. I'm passing tonight in the NBA. I'll give you the one that I was closest on as we talk here. But I do expect to be in action. We got the full slate on Friday and a full slate again on Sunday. And obviously the play-in games start next week. The playoffs start next weekend. And it's a time of season that I love. You talk about the late season NBA. I like the playoffs, man. The playoffs have been real good for the clients and I in recent years. The markets overreact to things they shouldn't overreact to. And if you're paying attention, you know which teams are good and which teams aren't. And the mainstream just doesn't seem to know that.
Well, let's talk about a couple games tonight. We got Cleveland and Indiana. We've got Minnesota and Memphis. Let's just briefly do Cleveland, Indiana, because it looks like Cleveland is sitting most everybody. It looks like Mobley's out, Garland's out, Mitchell's out. Pacers are -9. You're not going to see the Pacers -9 against the Cavaliers too often. But how do we break this one down?
I mean, obviously, when you talk about the last weekend of the NBA season, it's a minefield. It could be a real challenge. But let's break down this NBA on TNT doubleheader tonight. And I think this is a decent play here. I mean, obviously, Cleveland clinched the #1 seed in the East. They beat Chicago on Tuesday. Kenny Atkinson's quote, "I think you celebrate these moments." Okay. It's hard to be a first seed. We all know that. So if ever there's an exhale spot for the Cavs, this is it. And you talked about Cleveland resting starters. No Max Strus tonight, no Darius Garland, no Evan Mobley, no Donovan Mitchell. That's 4 of their 5 starters. That being said, Cleveland is deep. And I've seen them play bet. I'm hoping I'm going to get a chance to bet on Cleveland in the playoffs without Mitchell in the lineup. I'm rooting for a guy to hurt because I think that's where the value is going to be on Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell is not their most important player. He's not their second most important player. But the mainstream media knows him, so he's who they talk about, and he affects the point spread. But we talk about Ty Jerome, Sam Merrill, DeAndre Hunter, Jared Allen's playing tonight, Dean Wade, guys. Of course, not like Cleveland's playing a G League roster tonight. They're playing guys who are going to get minutes in their NBA in the playoffs. Atkinson, quote, "It's kind of going to be a collaborative thing." Yeah, they're not going to get out of shape, right? You don't decondition. I'm not worried about that. It's more rhythm. But the bottom line is, this feels like a no-show game for the Cavaliers. So I'll leave it at that. And when you have a no-show game at this stage of the season, it's Indiana or pass. That being said, I'm not in a rush to play Indiana tonight. I mean, they looked sluggish the other night against Washington. I watched that game, and they were sluggish from the opening tip. And again, they didn't shoot well, 38% shooting, 26% from three-point range against Washington. That's hard to do. They have 5 straight wins: Washington, Utah, Charlotte, Sacramento when they were struggling. Denver, they're the ones that got Mike Malone fired. They did get Pascal Siakam back in the lineup after he missed the game in Denver. But it's not a Pacers team right now. And again, you talk about urgency. I'm not convinced there's any more urgency for Indiana tonight than there is for Cleveland, even though the Pacers are playing starters and Cleveland isn't. Both teams top 10 in pace over the last 10 games. The Cavs defense has noticeably slipped in recent weeks. 127-117 the last time they played, cashed over with room to spare by 2 touchdowns in that game. And we've all seen all the sharp money coming on the over already in this one. This total opened, look at my Odds Logic live odds screen. It was 229.5 last night. We're looking at 233s out there now. I agree with the sharp money here. Missed the number, but the over is the only way I would play this one between the Cavs and the Pacers.
Teddy covers 17-7 last 10 days, all sports. MLB is off to a red hot start. Let's talk about the Grizzlies and the Timberwolves. Huge game in the West, like huge game. Who would have thunk? But the Western Conference, I can't remember this many teams bunched up there, and it's kind of crazy. You go back to January, Memphis beat the Timberwolves twice, both by 2 points. How big do those 2 games loom right now? What are we doing with this game? This is one of the bigger games we're going to have towards the end of the season.
Sure. So right now in the Western Conference, the number 3 seed currently is the LA Lakers at 49-31. The number 8 seed is Minnesota at 46-33. There's not a lot of room between the 3 seed and the 8 seed. In the Western Conference. And obviously with these 2 teams, Minnesota sitting at 46-33, Memphis sitting at 47-32, this game has enormous implications for who's going to play who in the first round, who's going to get home court, who's going to have to play in the play-in game. All that being said, seeding is never a motivator in the NBA. Never. You know, Memphis got to win 3 straight games to clinch to avoid the play-in tournament. So there's urgency for Memphis. There's as much as urgency for Minnesota. All right, we'll talk about it. But there's some funny quotes from Memphis, the interim head coach, Thomas Yasalo. We're in a tough battle with some other teams. And I couldn't ask for more than our guys are doing everything they can to keep working at a time to secure the best possible seeding. Of course, they were in a 1-7 slide when Taylor Jenkins got fired. They're 3-0 the last three. Who'd they beat? They won at Miami, good win. They won at Detroit, good win. They beat Charlotte, no big deal. So they won 3 in a row. Yasalo. It's hard to say if we're peaking or not. I think we're playing very solid basketball at the moment. That being said, I'm going to call it a huge injury, but the injury to Jalen Wells the other night, who broke his wrist and was laying on the floor for 8 minutes and delayed the game, that's an impact injury in the sense of he's not going to factor into the point spread. Wells has been an elite defender for that team, and he started 74 games. All right, and he's been guarding the opponent's leading scorer or best offensive player. I think it's an impact injury, and it's an injury the markets aren't necessarily going to pay a bunch of attention to. Before I talk about Minnesota here, I do want to concur with what Andy was saying. We appreciate the likes very much. We appreciate the comments very much. We appreciate the follows very much. And of course, we do got a special offer available right now on my page. Talked about how I'm running good across sports. We're running good in the NBA. We're running good at MLB. Every day, every play for the next 365 days. All access. $99 a month. You can get that right now, wt.buzz/TC. And that will get you literally every play every day through next April in every sport that I release. wt.buzz/TC. So we got the T-Wolves coming off about a crushing of losses you're going to have. They had a 24-point lead with 10 minutes to play, and then meltdown city. The Bucks scored 40 points in the fourth quarter. The T-Wolves, I think, had 5 in the first 2 minutes. They had a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer, and then they proceeded to score 8 the rest of the quarter. And lost at home by 7 in a game they led by 24 with 7 to play. All right, they had won 5 straight games prior to that. And again, nothing to be too excited about. Philly, Brooklyn, Phoenix, Denver by 1 in overtime, Detroit in a flat spot after beating the Cavs. But coming off that loss, how does Minnesota react? Well, Coach Chris Finch, we got to shake it off. I'm very confident we'll be able to fight back. We didn't expect to go undefeated over our last 10 games. We have to get the ones that are there to be gotten. Anthony Edwards. We're good. I mean, it's a part of the game. Of course, we didn't want to lose, but we can't be in bad spirits because we know we win. We know we need to win the next one. Minnesota's the better of these two teams. I think the Wells injury matters. If I'm playing, I'm laying. It's T-Wolves or pass for this better. I do think Minnesota is the better squad, and I'm certain there's a sense of urgency after the debacle in the fourth quarter the other night.
Love it. Teddy covers up 32 units last few weeks in the NBA. And Teddy just did a great job telling you about a year's worth of plays, hitting 57, 58% in the NBA, Teddy, over the course of those years. That's how you build bankrolls right there. You keep that 57, 58%. That's how you're up 200 units in the NBA. Congratulations to you. You said you're kind of passing for client plays. Tell everyone about that year special just one more time. Everyone needs to take it.
Sure. I was playing MLB this afternoon. So you can get my baseball. The baseball's been really good. I started 0-3 and I was pissed off. I was really mad. I'm like, I'm not falling into a hole. And we took a day off. And since then, we've come back and we're seeing things pretty clearly. My short lists have been good. You can get that play right now, wt.buzz/TC. And of course, if you're interested, all right, I'm not going to twist anyone's arm. If you want to partner up, let's partner up. Let's go. I'm not going to, no, please. No, if you want to see what we can do together, let's try it. wt.buzz/TC. Every play, every day, in every sport includes all 5% winners. $99 a month. It's a good deal. It's as good a deal as we offer for long-term packages. So check it out, and thanks for watching.
I'll go twist their arms, Teddy. How about that? I'll be the bouncer here. I'll be the enforcer. I'll go twist their arms and get it. Teddy covers everyone. Thank you so much. Great stuff on the NBA. We're going to go over Masters play in a bit. We're going to go over darts play. And last time I hosted, we talked about professional athletes getting hurt doing everyday things, routines, and we got an all-timer coming up that I'm going to talk about. We're going to bring Dan on. We're going to talk about first. We got to talk with Joe D'Amico. I have not talked to Joe in forever, so we got to bring on Joe. We got to talk a little. And there he is. Oh my God! You just ooze confidence, my friend. How is everything?
I am very excited to be here, Andy. You know, I was thinking, because I was in the back, I was watching the show. By the way, hi, Teddy. How are you, buddy? Teddy's been a friend to me since I had hair and his hair was dark. I'll tell you that. Andy, I've got to tell you, I like to hit the ground running. So I was tuning in, and because I want to make sure I'm abreast of what you guys have been talking about. And I'll tell you what, you and I haven't done a show in a really long time, and it's exciting to be on the panel with you, be on the panel with my old buddy Gianni. You know, I know Gianni 25 years. I know Teddy even longer, or just as long. And I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Yeah, you know, confidence, I got to tell you, confidence is not a weakness of mine. I'll tell you that, but I got to be honest with you. My good friend, Pete Rosen, he was a good friend of mine for 30 years, always told me it ain't bragging if you can back it up, and numbers don't lie. I mean, don't get me wrong. I used to tell my wife I was 5'8" before I lost my hair. Now I can't even get away with that. So I will tell you that. That's the only lie I about tell. My numbers are great. You know, college basketball was amazing. I just crushed it. 32 units up the last 30 days. Over the years, Andy, I don't know if any 2 or 3 handicappers documented in this business has as many top finishes as I have in baseball. And the NBA postseason, let me just put it this way. I have made people rich over the years, and this will be my best NBA postseason yet. I will tell you, over the next few days, I may step back a little bit. The last few days of the NBA regular season is kind of like the last week or two of the NFL regular season for me. I kind of concentrate on just those teams needing to better their situation. Who wants to better their situation? I'm not saying any of the teams aren't looking to, maybe fall on their face because they get a better lottery pick or whatnot, or they, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I stay away. I always make sure that for myself and anybody that follows me, Andy, I want to give them the best edge. Please understand this, Andy. Unlike a lot of people in the world or in this business, I'm not a general in the back going, charge, go get him, troops. I'm in the trenches. Every game I put out, I bet. All right, I've got a good lifestyle, buddy. But I am a sergeant in the trenches, in the mud, in the blood, in the guts, in the trenches, because every game I put out, I have as myself. And, Andy, I got to tell you, man, on good days, I'm twice as happy. Because not only is everybody going to pay me again tomorrow, I got paid and twice as pissed off on losing days. Because I know that I lost my money, but more importantly to me, I take a lot of pride in knowing that everybody out there puts their hard-earned money and their trust in me. And I felt I let them down. Good thing for myself and those who follow me, a lot less losing days than winning days.
Love it. Let's talk a baseball game, Twins and Royals. A couple pitchers been a little shaky. How are you going to play this game?
Well, Andy, this is a very interesting game. I know we had limited action in baseball today, but this game still stood out to me. Sports fans, I don't think anyone would argue the American League Central isn't the strongest division in baseball. All right, currently only the Detroit Tigers own a winning record, with the Royals just behind them playing 500 ball. Guardians, Twins, White Sox all struggling already. But just because these teams don't look like they're going to be competing for the pennant, that doesn't mean you should dismiss this division, as there is money to be made in it, my friends. I want to start with the obvious. I'm going to give a bonus play plus a side. I like the total here, and I like the side. I want to give the total out as a bonus. It would be an understatement to say neither one of these teams have been crushing the cover off the ball, Andy. And you may not realize this, but 7 consecutive meetings have gone under the total. This does include all 3 meetings in this series. Yes, neither Ober nor Watch, as you mentioned a moment ago, have looked like world beaters thus far. But with neither lineup really hitting, I don't think this game is once again going to be high scoring. I think this game will be a low scoring affair. Baseball, in my opinion, is the streakiest of all the major sports. So I would sprinkle a little bit of money on the under here, folks. As far as the side goes, prior to yesterday's Game 3, Kansas City has taken 6 straight over Mini. I mentioned a moment ago, neither pitcher has been stellar, but I will say I feel that Watcha and his experience has at times offered me and anybody that follows me a little bit of value. I think once again this is one of those times. Yesterday the Royals were blanked 4-0. That's not going to sit well with them, especially at home where they've won 4 of their last 6 playing in Kauffman Stadium. For sure gives them an edge. And as I mentioned earlier, they have the confidence of knowing they've dominated this division rivalry over recent meetings. I like Kansas City here. I'm going to play it. And if you follow me, you'll take the bookmakers money with me.
Love it, Joe. You have so much going on, man. You got shows, you've got plays. So tell everyone a little bit. I know you've been hitting about 62% of your bets, which is absolutely fantastic. So tell everyone about your show, tell everyone about your streaks and what you have up at Sportsmemo, because
I've got so much going on.
You're the featured handicapper.
Andy, I've got to tell you, the great folks at Sportsmemo and WagerTalk brand, they're unlike anybody else in this industry. They put together the best collections of handicappers anywhere on the planet. Any other website in this business, any one of the guys on WagerTalk or Sportsmemo would be the best handicapper on that site. They didn't do that here. They took the best collection of cappers anywhere. You don't believe me, guys? Go and check our numbers out, because numbers don't lie. Like I said, I used to tell my wife I was 5'10". Now I can't get away with 5'8" since I started shaving my head, Andy. It's the only thing I lie about. Numbers don't lie. So if you don't follow me, follow one of the other great cappers at Sportsmemo or WagerTalk. But I've got a few things going on. Very popular show on the Sportsmemo YouTube channel and their Twitter page is the First Family of Las Vegas show. Now, we had this show for about a year and a half. Took some time off. It was, as you know, you do daily shows. It's a little exhausting. We took some time off. We had almost 6,000 subscribers on the Sportsmemo YouTube channel in a small amount of time we did the show. We're building it back up again. My wife, the First Lady of Las Vegas, and I are the only husband and wife team in the history of the sports betting business. We have our First Family of Vegas show every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, on the Sportsmemo YouTube channel and on their Twitter page. We feature all of the winning cappers over at Sportsmemo, so tune in each weekday for a ton of free winners, some great betting insights, a bit of entertainment, and a few laughs to boot, guys. Every weekday morning, tune in. But I've got to tell you, Andy, the fun don't stop there. Sportsmemo has been nice enough, to give me two big specials. First of all, I've been winning so much, over 62% the last month. I'm just hitting on all cylinders. I have a $2 Thursday special. I'm the featured capper today. My 4% MLB NL East game of the week. I'm hitting over 62% the last 30 days overall in sports. It doesn't matter if it's on the diamond or the hardwood. I'm getting you paid. Today is the featured $2 capper at Sportsmemo. I have my NL East game of the week in the Phillies-Braves matchup. For a small $2 investment, I don't care if you bet $10 a game or $10,000. You go over to Sportsmemo, you follow me. My buzz link, sm.buzz/JD. I'll repeat that again, sm.buzz/JD. It's on the board. Guys, you follow me for $2, you're going to follow me to the bank. The savings doesn't stop there. Because I win so often in baseball and in pro basketball this time of year, the great folks at Sportsmemo, they know that saving your money just as good as making your money. You know what they allow me to do, Andy? I'm so excited about this. All right. First of all, college basketball said I did good. About 32 units the last 30 days, 63% winning percentage, over 62% the last 30 days overall. Every year for over 24 documented years, my NBA postseason records are unrivaled. You know what, Andy? My MLB numbers are even better. Whether it be on the hardwood or on the diamond, I'm making everybody money. The steal, wait a minute, let me rephrase that, the deal of the year. Receive all of my Major League Baseball releases through the World Series, just $3.99, and we're going to throw in the rest of the NBA absolutely free. That's more than half off the site price of $8.24. So get on board. You will follow me all the way to the bank. It doesn't matter. If you prefer baseball, you're going to get baseball. If you prefer pro basketball, you're going to get pro basketball. You're going to get both. So you're going to make twice the money. I'm telling you now, Andy, I am so excited. They're so nice to me over there.
Joe, you are so excited, man. We gotta get you out of here. We got a couple more guests to get to, but man, every time we've met in person, I've just had a blast. You have stories for days. All of them are entertaining, and it's only $2. Joe D'Amico is the featured handicapper. Only $2. The only thing better than a winning play is a winning play. That's only $2. Go over to Sportsmemo, grab Joe D'Amico's play. One of the nicest guys in the industry you'll ever meet. So thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate it. We're bringing on Kyle Anthony, I believe. If you guys listen, we're about 550 subscribers away from 200,000. If you guys could subscribe, please do that. Hit the like button. We got to talk some UFC. UFC 314. Kyle, I still can't get over the Pitbull is fighting in the UFC, and we got word that Pico is coming over. They moved the fight, but we're getting some of these Bellator guys and everything. So UFC, man, is a runaway train right now. But we got two bets we want to talk off, and I think we're going to talk about the Reyes and Krylov fight. Who do you like in that one?
Yeah, so in this spot here, we've got Nikita Krylov. He is minus 192. On the comeback, we've got Dominic Reyes plus 160. Now, when you're looking at this fight, you really don't know what version really you're going to get of Reyes here. Is it the 2020 version where he really fought, John Jones very closely, or are we going to get the one that got knocked out 3 straight times? Now, he has taken time off. He's come back. He has actually looked pretty good, 2 straight knockouts. And I think he's building a little bit of confidence. I think he's building a little bit of momentum. But I think the biggest thing here and the biggest takeaway is a couple red flags on the Krylov side. And the first one being the fact that Krylov hasn't fought in 2 years. Last time he fought was 2023 of March. And that's just a long time away. That's already, ring rust, and it's just there's issues there. But the biggest thing is that he has taken time off because of the fact that he's been injured. There was a surgery, had back surgery, and that alone is going to really take time to kind of heal, get back, recovery, getting back into training camp, having that full momentum to getting into this. And also the fact that now he's a guy that has had surgery, coming back, 2 years ring rust, and now he really needs to get takedowns. Now, this is the spot where he has to shoot, he has to look to grind, he has to look to get, Reyes up against the fence. He's got subpar takedown success rate of 38%. While I do like Reyes here, where you're talking about his defensive wrestling, he's got an 82% defense rate, very good. Even John Jones went 2 for 9 on takedowns with only 1 minute and 40 of control time. So I don't really think Krylov, 2 years off, a guy that's really trying to build himself back. And now if this plays out on the feet, absolutely Reyes has big time power, better combinations, faster hand speed. He's the more explosive fighter, the more athletic fighter between these two guys. And I think one of the biggest things, I think why this line is where it is because of Reyes' chin. Now that is an absolute concern here. There's no doubt about that. But you also got the fact that Krylov is not some, heavy hitter when you're looking at it. He's a guy that's going to ground and pound you, take you down. His last knockout victory was against Alexander Gustafsson in 2022. Prior to that was 2018 outside the UFC. So I think Reyes is going to be fine. His chin's going to be okay. Even though, he's going to grind at him, I still think Reyes finds the big shots, more impactful shots. So I like this plus money here on Reyes at plus 160.
Like it. There was a rumor that Krylov was killed. Did you know about this?
He was fighting in the Ukraine war.
It's like,
and the other thing too, he's not really on social media. Like, he's very, very low key. I just think there's more to this story than we're getting, but I don't know. I mean, Reyes feels like he's pedal to the metal, back, looking good. So I don't know. There's too many concerns, especially at a minus 200 number on Krylov.
Love it. Kyle Anthony is 15-5 in his last 25% UFC plays. Kyle, we're going to get to another fight, but tell everyone what you have up for this weekend.
Yeah, so I do have a 5% play over the last 12 months. We're 15-5 over that span on our max bets. Love the spot we're in for this Saturday. Last one we had, which was 2 weeks ago, was Manuel Torres plus 100. First round knockout was a nice, easy peasy knockout for us. I do have 5 plays right now locked in for clients, and I'm probably going to have a couple more, I know Andy thinks this. I know Gianni thinks this. This is a great betting card here. A lot of good spots. And I think there's opportunity to make some good money here. So I do have those plays up. Check it out at WagerTalk.
Love it. Kyle's 5% UFC plays are legendary. Absolutely take advantage of that. Go grab it. Let's talk about another fight that we have here. We're going to talk about Sean Woodson and Dan Ige. If it came out that Sean Woodson was an alien, would you be surprised? His body is just, I don't know. It's very, very strange. But I think you're looking at Ige at plus money on this one, right?
Yeah, so we've got Sean Woodson here. He's minus 182, and the comeback here in Dan Ige is plus 145. Now, this is going to be really primarily a boxer versus boxer type of matchup here, and you've got Sean Woodson. To your point, Andy, the guy is long, he's lanky, he likes to fight behind his reach, has a good jab, and there are those parts that he does have, and especially he's going to have a 7-inch reach advantage, about a 5-inch height advantage, so that is going to be a concern with Ige looking to cut distance. But I like the fact that Ige does have some solid boxing, and he's got power, and I think this is a spot where the style at which Ige fights, I think, really presents a lot of problems here for Sean Woodson. And I think that Sean Woodson's a guy, again, who wants to be on the outside, pitter-patter shots. He does not have the power that Ige has. Ige's going to have the advantage, but Ige likes to crash the pocket. He wants to brawl. He wants to scrap. He wants to get in the middle. He wants to trade in the pocket. And that is really where Woodson has had problems. He doesn't want to be in the pocket. He wants to be mostly on the outside, working his shots, working his leverage, and working his boxing. And, over his 13 wins, he's got 8 by decision. He's a guy that, again, is going to be more of a point fighter. But I think one of the bigger red flags that are on Woodson is his durability. He was knocked down twice by Luis Saldana. That is not a good look. But overall, when this guy gets hit, he doesn't absorb shots very well. I think that there's, no one really wants to get hit, but he doesn't absorb them very well. Ige is going to be the hardest hitter that he has had to face. And I do think he's going to find the opportunities to have the bigger, more impactful, damaging shots. And also to your point, Andy, the guy is a 6'2" featherweight that's turning 33 in June. I mean, this is a guy, there is a point where people try to really squeeze down into weight classes, and then there's a point it just starts to have the reverse effect. It starts to become negative. It starts to hurt your durability, your cardio. All of those things start to go down, and I think he's starting to hit that point, and we do see that when you're starting to get these lower weight classes, and now you're talking about, heading towards 35. I think this is a spot where Danny Ige, far more better strength of schedule. I like him here, especially at this plus money number that Danny Ige is the side here.
2 plus money plays from Kyle. Kyle, you already told us about your 5%. Tell us one more time what you got up. And I keep telling you don't talk about your 5% streaks enough. 15-5 is insane. It's insane, man. Yeah, congratulations.
So we do have, last year we were, it was hard to miss on our 5%, but we are definitely on a 15-5 run, 75% win rate on these over the last 12 months. And again, do have 5 plays up right now, going to be adding to that, have some plus money in there as well. And really looking forward to a great card and a fun one. This is a stacked card from top to bottom on Saturday night.
Good luck this weekend, Kyle. Can't wait to catch up with you next week. Guys, we're going to bring on Dave Mason from Bet Online real quick, go over a couple plays. I have 2 5% plays that are up right now. One of them is in the UFC. One of them is in the PFL. We are number 1 in MMA profits this year. We're running a 7-day special for only $69. You get all plays. We are on an 11-3 all sports run. Cash last night in the NHL. You can take advantage of this. You should take advantage of this. Don't wait. If you haven't got the 7-day pass, get it in today. Any plays that we have for the Masters over the next few days, you'll get. You'll get the 2 5% plays. You'll get our NBA. You'll get our NHL. You'll get our cricket plays. You'll get lacrosse. And yes, you will get darts. WT.buzz/AL. We have 3 darts plays that are up. And I mentioned earlier that we have a sports injury. So, Dan, last week we talked about Michael Van Gerwen. He was going to win, and then he pulled out of his match because he got hurt. It turned out he hurt his neck. It turned out he hurt his neck putting on his shirt. That's a real thing that happened.
Wow, so Andy, I will say, we're also professional darts players. I'm not sure if they're the pinnacle of fitness, but I will say, at 32 years of age, sometimes I'll wake up, I slept weird, my neck is injured. You feel a little bit tight. Never have I been like, oh man, I'm really feeling this, had to slide into the t-shirt a little too hard. Where's the chiropractor when you need him? That's pretty crazy. And yes, I have slept wrong, but I'm no professional athlete, but injuring yourself, putting your shirt on, I don't know if you can call yourself a professional athlete after that one, Andy.
Well, we'll cut to the chase. We're betting against him. He plays in a couple hours.
That's in true Andy Lang form.
Yes.
How do we find a way to we have fade the baby theories. We have bet on the OnlyFans theories. And now we have fade the t-shirt injury theory, which might be my favorite theory. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Chris Dobie's even money against Michael Van Gerwen. Van Gerwen actually played twice over the weekend and he lost both of them to no names. So yes, we're fading the guy that cannot put on his shirt without hurting his shoulder. So take Chris.
So now after we cash this one, Andy, we'll be able to add to the team that we cashed in on a team of lacrosse players having mono. And now we will hopefully be adding in, cashing in on a dart thrower who injured himself putting on a shirt. If you're not riding with Andy Lang, especially at the price, I don't know what you're doing, because just the stories you can tell your sports betting friends on the shit you cash in on is worth it. It's weight in gold, man.
Absolutely. These are not baked into the lines. the guy who hurt himself putting his shirt on. Let's bring on Dave Mason if we got him here. Dave, we got you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
How do you bake into the line a professional darts player who hurt himself putting a shirt on? Is that something as a bookmaker you have to deal with very often?
Injuries are crazy, right? In sports. I mean, the dark stuff, we're a little bit in the dark on the dark stuff, so we just follow some other books. But yeah, man, the injuries are always something, and that's part of the game, man. That's what the sharps know. They know all those injuries, and they're betting stuff, and they're betting stuff before that injury information is common knowledge, and the numbers moving, and then 30 seconds later you get the report why a player's numbers are moving or whatever. So yeah, they getting that information, whether it's busting out an ACL or hurting your arm, putting a shirt on. It's important.
Yeah, Andy, absolutely. To be fair, that's why Dave Mason comes on WagerTalk Today, is so that he can hear about the dart injuries and get it back to the dart
lower the line.
Who was that guy? Who on me later?
Michael Van Gerwen. Dave, how was March Madness for you guys over at BetOnline?
Oh, man, it was a grind, man. I mean, the first weekend was good. A little bit of fool's gold. It started good, but again, a little bit of fool's gold. Sometimes those like early week games, even if it's Thursday Night Football or the first 2 days of March Madness, you win, but it's kind of fool's gold because there's a lot of hookups. So they come back to haunt you either on Monday Night Football or the Sunday games, or in this case, Saturday and Sunday games. So first weekend was good. Second weekend was god awful. I mean, the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight games were not good at all. All that chalk. Those money line parlays, there's all chalk money line parlays. There's so much more money on those than there are, the spreads and the totals. So if all the chalks winning outright, I mean, that just murders us. We were doing all right in the standard markets, but those all chalk money line parlays. Final Four was awesome. Duke losing outright was great, not only because, again, there was a lot of money line parlays on Duke, but also the futures. At that point, there were only futures loss, and it was a pretty big one. So getting rid of them was good. Monday night, decent. The futures was great. We needed Florida big time on the odds to win it all, but we needed Houston smaller on the game. It was choppy either way. It was going to be about the same result either way for us. So it was a good night. Not great, but Final Four was great. That made our tournament.
Love it. Love it. Happy for you. Not happy for everyone that lost money with you guys. How's the start of baseball season for you guys?
Good. I mean, baseball season, it's always kind of a little bit of a soft start because, and it always sneaks up on me too, because it's, March Madness is here. Everybody's talking about March Madness and it's like, holy hell, opening day is like 3 days away. But we have such a good loyal baseball following, with our dime line. So many other books don't offer dime lines anymore. They're kind of an endangered species. We still offer them, and they're some of the best breaks in the industry. So we have a very, very loyal baseball player base, and it's good. The action's great. It's kind of a slow grind throughout the year. There's so many games, and it really takes off, when the dog days of summer, once the NBA is over with. But action's good, and the results have been pretty good so far.
Nice. What kind of futures are you looking at in NBA? Anything scary, or are you guys feeling pretty good?
Let me bring that up real quick. The NBA futures. I haven't looked at them in a couple of weeks. Last time I looked, there's definitely some stuff to be concerned about. Sorry. Let me look at that. Profit. Lakers. Oh my God, that's god awful. Warriors are god awful. Bucks are bad, but Bucks are 125-1. No big deal there. Yeah, the worrisome teams out of the teams that are under 20-1 are the Lakers without a doubt, and the Warriors. Celtics are great. We'll be room for the Celtics without a doubt, with all those teams with short odds. So Lakers. I mean, we've been red on them all damn year, and like every year we're red on the Lakers. Wherever LeBron plays, we're going to be red on them. So that's the sweat right there. The Lakers and the Warriors. Go Celtics.
Dave, in the chat, someone wants me to ask you, what's sharp today? The chat wants you to tell them how to make money betting on your sports book. Can you help out?
Well, I'll tell you the sharp bets. I mean, we take sharp action, so we have all sorts of bets here at Bet Online. That being said, once the sharps bet, the number's gone, and that's only part of it. The size important, but the number's more important. So I'll give you an example, right? In NBA, Pelicans plus 15. Well, the Pelicans plus 15 isn't available anymore. T-Wolves minus 1.5, -1. Those numbers aren't available anymore. Pelican Bucks under 221.5. That number not available anymore. UFC Saturday, there's two-way on the main event. Volkanovski minus 120, Lopez plus 135. Well, those numbers aren't available anymore. So I could go on and on and on about sharp numbers or the sharp plays, but 9 times out of 10, those numbers are gone. And again, we take that kind of action. Other books don't want that kind of action, but we use that information to move our lines to make our lines sharper.
Yeah, if sharp lines aren't available for very long. How is the handle on UFC 314?
Oh, it's great. I mean, our UFC action is over. We originate the lines for 95% of the fights out there. So we originate them. We take big limits. They're up to 20,000, I think, with rebet. So the action's great, man. I mean, especially on that main event. It's looking like we'll need Lopez right now. Chandler and Patty. We're going to need Patty the Batty. It's looking like. But stuff there, Chandler plus 145, Bryce Mitchell plus 209 or better, Rodriguez minus 185, Reyes plus 175, Elkins plus 225 or better. So that's some of the sharper stuff, but I'll be tweeting out some sharp stuff, and all the public gets splits throughout the weekend up until the fight time.
All right, Dave, we're going to let you get out of here. Give us a prediction. Who you got, Volk or Lopez?
Oh, man, I'm going Lopez. I mean, Volk's I'm going the new blood. I mean, Volk's lost 3 out of 4. Yeah, he fought some absolute killers in there, but he's coming off of 2 vicious knockouts, too. And whenever these guys start, I think he's 36-year-old now. Whenever they're getting kind of that mid-30s and they're coming off back-to-back knockouts or vicious knockouts, man, they can get pretty chinny. So I'm going Lopez. I already bet him at plus 125. So that's what I'm doing in the main event. But Volk's great. I mean, he's an all-time great.
Yeah, Dave Mason from betonline.ag. I use the website, have for years. They are always the first to come out with UFC lines. That's just God's honest truth. You're looking for UFC lines. You're going to Bet Online. So, Dave, thank you so much for coming on. Good luck this weekend. Good luck at UFC 314. Hope everything's going well for everyone. All right, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're almost done here. Again, 7-day pass, WT.buzz/AL. Get you the 2 5% plays, 1 in PFL, 1 in UFC. We have their Masters breakdown video that is up. We have the UFC breakdown video that is up. And we have a PFL breakdown video that is up. So if you're looking for information about those fights or the Masters tournament, go ahead and check that out. It's on the WagerTalk channel. And again, subscribe if you haven't done it. Please, please, please. Love to get to that 200,000 before the weekend. It's going to do it for us. Good luck on all your plays. Let's have a great Thursday, and we'll see everyone later.